market is an exciting piece that's a strong part of the American textile business is hosiery, and we have a lot of our wools that go on into that end of the production, again because of the benefits that a wool sock provides, and so we're excited about expanding products within the hosiery market as well. And even Rita didn't show viewers, but she had some washable wool socks as well. They're not the scratchy ones that we used to wear growing up, so they're all available as well. Let's go back to the telephone. David from Missouri, you're up next. Welcome.
Welcome. I had a question on wool production.
Mm-hmm.
Which are we seeing the larger growth in, the coarse to medium wool or the fine wool market?
The demand for is greater for fine wool market. The prices are a bit higher, and in the last week have really sort of rocketed up. All wool is usable. The coarser wool will go into the upholstery market, and the finer wool more into apparel. So it depends on what works best for your operation.
And there was some talk also earlier today about if there's some stress in the wool. Maybe you were talking about that as they cut that. I mean, the pelts are going to be, or the wool is going to be discounted some. It's quite an intricate business that you're involved in, and the industry is very particular about the quality that they're going to get from the wool.
That's correct. If the sheep has been nutritionally stressed, it makes sense that the fiber may be smaller in diameter and weaker, and it takes the strength characteristics away. So it's there's uses for all kinds, and if all else fails, you can make it into felt and make a cowboy hat out of it.
I like that as well. All right, let's go to Florida for our next call. Joe, thank you for calling. You're up next.
Hi. Yeah, I just had some questions concerning the rotation between cattle and sheep. We have a small family ranch here in Northwest Florida, and we were just kind of exploring the possibilities of maybe getting into the sheep. And also, I've noticed you spoke specifically on wool sheep. What are your thoughts on hair sheep with cotyledons in mind?
Well, I'll take that, Joe. First of all, the rule of thumb is you can run about 5 ewes for every 1 cow that you have. But if you're going to run them together, the cows and the sheep together, you may find that, for example, if you presently have 20 head of cattle on there, you may be able to reduce the number of cows by 3 and pick up the equivalent of 5 with sheep, because multi-species grazing is huge, and you'll find that they do eat different species of grasses and forbs, and they do quite well together. And the second advantage, especially in Florida where we know there's a parasite problem down there, multi-species grazing is a huge tool to break that parasite lifestyle. So it's a very hard question to be specific to. I think those are rules of thumb. Certainly the hair sheep in certain areas in your climate, there's going to be a lot easy care. You don't have to worry about shearing, and we understand that the hair sheep and the cotyledons, the eating quality is great, and no, they don't produce the wool, but you know, after all, you're still going to have the lamb product to sell.
And I would add in, we're not a breed association, and it's like the president of the Tennessee Sheep Association told me after our last show, he said, in terms of breeds, he said, you know, take the example of the cattle business where you just pick a breed and go to bragging.
Go to bragging. All right, let's go back to our telephone for the next caller, and that's David from Missouri. David, welcome to RFD-TV.
Yes, my question is, I have Bermuda grass and fescue, and what sheep would I use on that particular grass?
All right, grazing grass.
Yes, I have fescue and Bermuda grass, different types.
Well, David, if you're talking about different breeds, all breeds would harvest it. I think rather than worrying about the types of grass, you need to look at the other attributes of your pasture. Is it highland ground, well drained? Is it swampy? You want to look at those kind of things, and then pick a breed accordingly. But sheep have been converting forage to food and fiber for years. The whole industry does not depend on very much concentrate feeding. Their carbon footprint is very, very low. So other than that advice, I can't help you much. But I would be more concerned about the lay of the ground, your insect problems, your worm problems, than just the grass.
And to the strength of sourcing the animals locally, that, you know, I've grown up on particular grazing and forage, you know, along with the management. That's one thing about the sheep business, is it can vary dramatically as producers have become so good at adapting their animals and their management to when feed is available, when it's at its peak, other times of the year when it's not as good, and being able to manage their animals and their feeding patterns to match the local climate and grass in an economical way. I mean, you can always run them anywhere, but to do it and make profit on it, and that's why the strength again is with your local producers and the folks that have been doing it, because they have that experience to share with folks.
Go ahead,
yes,
Rita.
Add to that, we've got a lot of information on our website at sheepusa.org. So it's very, very helpful. We also have some production handbooks I think people will find very, very helpful as a website.
Sheepusa.org will be showing you that website here. We have about 4 minutes before we have to say goodnight here and start to wrap things up. Let's get back to our phones. Dan, been holding from Iowa. Dan, thanks for calling.
Yeah, I appreciate you having this show on about sheep. We don't see much out in the public about the sheep industry.
Glad to do it.
My question is, how do you suggest that you go about keeping ewe lambs when this is the most profitable time anybody has for selling sheep? It's kind of hard to hold back on the profit and save your ewe lambs.
There's a producer speaking to a producer.
Oh, well, I'll just take the question, Mark. Certainly it's a